If you want to learn how to level up your life and unlock the hottest, highest, and healthiest version of yourself, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to today's episode of Hot and Unbothered. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. If you're new here, my name is Brianna Gomez, and I am your host of Hot and Unbothered, the ultimate podcast for unlocking your highest self, leveling up your life, and figuring out how you are going to take out the space between your current self and your highest self. So today, we are doing something a little bit different, if you can't tell. I am putting the emphasis on hot and unbothered, and we are in a sauna. So it's about to get really hot in here. So we'll see. Right now it's 122 degrees, but who knows? So this is a new segment that we're starting where I will have a guest with me. So let me know which guests that you guys want to see. We already have a few potential ones lined up, but it's going to be really fun. We're going to talk all things self-care, self-love, and it's going to be done in a sauna. So we have the people live on TikTok, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to send them in, and I'll answer as I go. But we have a whole setup going right now, so it's going to be really fun. I am going to have a guest in here with me, and it's going to be a surprise. So let me know who you guys want it to be. I'll call them up. Okay, guys, this is going to be like, Hot Ones where they get hot and they're eating the wings and they can't talk during their interview. That's what this is. But now it's hot and unbothered. Okay, we're going to turn it up just so I can get my benefits. And I forgot a hair tie, of course. So today we're going to be talking about comparison. I know I had a lot of people request that topic, and it's something that is so relevant in today's day and age with social media, everything like that. It's literally impossible to not compare yourself to the person you're seeing on the screen. We see so many Photoshop things. We see everything just like glorified almost, because of course people are only going to show the good parts of their life. But the best parts about learning to not compare yourself is the detachment that comes within that. So the number one thing I want you guys to do when you're trying to stop with the comparison is you have to cleanse and detox the media that you're intaking. So any negative media, whether that's someone who you really compare yourself to often, or someone who photoshops their images or posts negative things, clear it out. You can unfollow people, and don't feel bad about unfollowing people. It's totally normal to go on an unfollowing spree, just because I think that we don't realize our thoughts, they really do impact how we treat ourselves and how we view ourselves. And so when we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, it's literally impossible to love yourself at a full 100%, because you're looking at your phone, or you're looking at this person who's not even real. You're just seeing the glorified parts of their life, and you're thinking, I wish I had that. Or why am I not as pretty as them? Why don't I have as much success as them? Everything like that. And that's just not the way it goes. So that's the number one thing, is you guys have to kind of identify where you find yourself comparing, and then kind of delegate whether or not it's worth it to keep that comparison in your life. Because honestly, it's not worth it 99% of the time. And another thing that comes with comparison, because we know that comparison is the thief of all joy. I'm sure your mom told you that growing up. I'm sure you've heard that before. But comparison also comes or stems from jealousy. And jealousy is something that is honestly, it can be a super strong, stronghold, honestly. And it's hard to shake that feeling away, because again, when we see someone who has something that we want, we become jealous of them, and it's just a natural feeling. But with that jealousy can come resentment, it can come with unkindness, and that's just not a good way to live. And it's hard to vibrate at a high energy when you are constantly jealous of someone else and holding that resentment. So I want you guys to practice, when you see someone who you find yourself being jealous of or comparing yourself to, instead of hanging on to that resentment, I want you to be happy for them. Be happy for them, because they have something that is meant for them. You can be inspired by them, you can be motivated by them, but don't be jealous, because jealousy is just not cute. And jealousy, it gives off this desperate energy almost, and it's just not a magnetic frequency to be on. It's just not. So I want you guys to really practice that. And it's really nice, having that mindfulness and that intention. When you find yourself feeling that feeling of jealousy, you can kind of go in and correct it, which is really helpful. So I like practicing that. And another great way to practice this is to never hold a positive thought to yourself. And this can sound a little bit silly, but when you see someone walking down the street, you see them, maybe she has a really cute outfit, or you love her dog or her bag or her hair looks amazing and you wish your hair looked like that, you might feel that feeling of jealousy for a second. You might feel that, oh my gosh, that should be me. You need to feel that feeling and release it. And as you release it, you let that person know the thought that you had about them. Never ever hold a positive thought to yourself. And it is like the most magnetic practice you can do because it just spreads more positivity to that person and you get what you put out into the universe, if that makes sense. So if you're putting positivity out, it will come back and find you. Let's pause and look at the comments. We have Isabel. Isabel said, "Hi, Bri. It's late where I am, so I wish I could stay to listen, but I want to say I love your advice. It's hard to think when it's 142 degrees, hot and slightly bothered. It's so hard to think. I wish I had a hair tie or like a rubber band. I want you guys to imagine this. God creating you, right? And everything about you is so perfectly and intentionally made. And the way that you are right now is the way that you were intended to be. Everything down from your hair to your skin to your personality to your interests. That was how he decided you should be because he needs someone like you in this world. And then imagine if you spent so much time, imagine you're buying a gift for someone and you carefully like put out this gift. Maybe you hand make it, you pick it out, you wrap it with so much care, and you're so excited to give it to this person and to see what they do with their gift. And then they open their gift and they're like, I hate it. And they're like, I wish I had that person's gift. I wish I had something that's not this. I wish I had more money, more success. I wish I looked different. I wish my talents were different. I wish my family were different. But you handpicked this for them. But they're deciding that it's not what they want. But honestly, at the end of the day, that person who you gave the gift to, they don't know your true intention behind it because maybe you had a specific use for them to use it for that they weren't going to use it for yet. Or maybe you just had this specific vision that you wanted for them and they just don't see it yet. But they don't see it, so they're so upset with the gift that you got them and they want to return it. They want nothing to do with it. They hate it. They put it on the ground and they stomp all over it. Like, you have to imagine that is how your creator who created you is viewing you because now you're not liking the cards that you were dealt and instead you want to go trading. You want to go look at what every other person has and say, I like theirs better. I like theirs better. Why don't I have the same clothes as them, the same money as them, the same job as them? You don't know what's coming for you. And imagine how hurtful that is to the person who gave you that gift. Right? And they're not going to want to give you any more gifts if you're constantly just looking and focusing on what everyone else has. So that's my 2 cents on how you can kind of change your perspective a little bit when it comes to learning how to be happy with what you have in life and not just wanting instantly what other people have. And we live in a world where it's so easy to just scroll and open your phone or see people at the gym or on the street and just wish that things were different. But it really is refreshing to remind yourself that you are who you are for a reason. You're where you are in this point in time for a reason. And there's no need to stress about if you're going to get the same success, if you're going to get the same looks and achieve the same things because you are on your own journey. But you have to remember someone else's path is not your path. You are exactly where you're meant to be. But instead of focusing on other people, you need to be focused on yourself. Because once you decide to look inwardly, and you stop looking at all these external distractions almost and all these external negative factors, you will become so much more magnetic. Like all of that attention and obsession that you're putting into other people's lives, you need to revert back into you and it will become so powerful and magnetic and you will thrive. I'm going to tell you guys something that I do deal with: comparison. I do struggle with comparison. I think especially being a creator, it's really hard to feel like you're being original, but at the same time, it's hard to then execute your original ideas and feel like they're good enough. Because you see what all of these creators are doing because there's so many influencers in the world, right? And then you want to compare yourselves like, well, I'm doing something similar. Why are people liking her videos and not mine? Why are their videos blowing up and not mine? Oh, their idea is better. I wish I thought of that. When you're so focused on other people, you are just ruining your authenticity. And you're ruining your flow of like creativity because how are you supposed to thrive when you're constantly comparing? You know what I mean? Like imagine if you had a little kid and when your little kid was performing or competing or anything like that, you were constantly like comparing them to the other kids, that's not going to make them want to do any better. It's going to make them want to cry and roll up in a little ball and quit. But you don't realize that's what you're doing to yourself. I will tell you guys the truth. Like, I struggle with comparison. So I don't want you to think that I'm sitting here and being like, I don't struggle with comparison. I'm so confident in myself every single day. That's so far from the truth. Like, with social media, being a creator, I feel like I almost deal with the same, if not more, comparison because, like I said, you're also comparing other people's success levels. And with social media, we are seeing such a what we think is like clear vision of this person's life. You know, you see day in my life and you think, wow, their perfect day. It seems like so ideal. I'm so jealous. But like people are only putting the highlight reels. And that's the thing about social media. So I want you guys to just keep that perspective in mind when you are kind of scrolling and you find yourself comparing. Because again, you are meant to be your own person. Like, can you imagine how boring life would be if every single person were the exact same? Or if you could see a person and be like, I want my life to be exactly like theirs and snap their fingers and have it the same. And even if that could happen and you did that, you have no idea what goes on in their house behind closed doors. You have no idea what goes on in their head, what battles they're dealing with. Like, I feel like in our lives, we see those people and we just assume that they're perfect, that they have everything and they're just living the dream. You don't even know the half of it. Like, you know, I feel like you compare yourself to these people. People used to compare themselves to celebrities all the time, and then the celebrity would end up having depression or addiction or anything like that. Like, we never truly know someone's battles. So it's almost like be careful what you wish for. Because maybe you can have that mansion or that dream life or that dream job, but maybe that job actually sucks and it's super hard. Or maybe you have that mansion and it's empty and it's boring and you're lonely. You know, I feel like we only kind of look at the parts of life that we want from other people. We don't think of what it would really be like if we had that whole package. And that's something that I find really helpful when struggling with comparison as well. But overall, like I was mentioning before, start pouring into yourself the way that you pour into other people. Stop obsessing over others. Stop yearning basically for other people's lives when the life you have right in front of you was meant for you. So just work on your self-love, work on kind of letting go of jealousy, detaching of that kind of fear of outside opinions, that fear of not being good enough or not being as similar as to what's cool and what's not, like trends, micro trends, all of that stuff, etc. It does not matter at the end of the day. Okay, so be true to yourself because I promise the right people will find you. You never have to change yourself to make people like you. You never have to change yourself to succeed. I promise you who you are is good enough. So make sure that you are loving that person and fueling your soul. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow me on all my socials at Brianna Gomez with 2 B's. Follow the podcast at Hot Unbothered on Instagram and TikTok. And leave a review on this episode for the chance to be featured in next week's episode. And let me know who you want sitting in the hot and unbothered sauna with me because it's hot and it's getting vulnerable in here. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you next Bri-day. Bye. Mwah.